Good morning, everybody. I did want to talk today a little bit about Ethereum and Bitcoin. But before I start, please remember to give me a thumbs up to help the algorithm, like and subscribe, and comment what you think of the market, where you think we're going, and if you're still bullish or bearish on crypto overall. So let's get started. A couple of weeks ago, I actually, not a couple of weeks ago, actually, I'll tell you exactly when I said this. I said this on the week of June 27th. So late June, I actually said that I would be bullish on crypto anywhere between 7 to 9 weeks. As of right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We are on the 9th week right now, which is absolutely insane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we are on the 9th week right now, which is the last week for me to be bullish. Let me just double check this on Bitcoin also. I think this should be the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the 8th week on Bitcoin, the 9th week on Ethereum. So as of right now, essentially, I am starting to turn bearish all over on crypto. I do think that a lot of we actually just closed a daily bullish trigger. We are bouncing off this big trend that has been happening ever since, that got created on June 18th on the lows. I do not think we're going to bounce from there. I do think that we are actually going to reverse to the lower side unless you have some ridiculously huge buying volume, which takes us back to like 2034. In which case that happens, if we actually come up here, I think we might have a chance of surviving and possibly going bullish again. But as of right now, I cannot help but start turning more to the bear side. The 9th week is up. I think I said that when I first made my video that I would only be bullish for 7 to 9 weeks, and then after that I would start getting pretty bearish. So we are on the 8th week of Bitcoin. If nothing crazy happens this week or next week, I am going to be extremely bearish on the whole market. I'm already bearish on the SPX, on SPY, and the NASDAQ. And on Ethereum and on Bitcoin. I do not, even though you have the merger on Ethereum happening on, I think it's like sometime in September, right? I don't know, September 10th, something like that. Essentially what's happening right now is you have a perfect buy. You have a perfect buy entry on Ethereum on the daily, which is actually pretty huge, right? So on the daily, the last time we actually had anything similar to this, we actually had a bottom here, right? We had a bottom here at $1,000. So if you would have bought the perfect bottom here, you would have actually entered the market at $994 for essentially a perfect 100% return, right? So you would have entered right here on June 18th, which called the bottom pretty well, right here, 994, and then you just kept rallying after that, right? And it's basically giving us the exact same trigger right there. So as of right now, TA, or my indicators, is giving us a perfect entry right now on the daily. And if we do anything like what happened last time, we are looking to maybe push, I don't even want to say, we'll do this from here all the way. So last time we pushed 289 on one trigger, right? But we did rally eventually all the way to tops of, like $2,000 or so, almost, a little bit over $2,000. But as of right now, we are looking at maybe another $289 push from this close of yesterday, which was right here within 8 days. So 8 days, $289 push, 289, which would take us right there. So I can expect, if we actually end up running to the high side, right, if we actually end up going bullish and actually doing something crazy, I do expect us to push all the way up there. And again, this is indicating that we might actually come back and retest the bottom of this trend right there. So we could possibly run up to here, maybe wick up to 20,000, like 70, something like that, and then possibly bounce. But there's also the chance that from here we're getting extremely weak and we just drop significantly, and there's really nothing happening on. So right now we're basically just trading sideways, and you have a decent market structure where you're creating lower highs and higher highs right here on Ethereum. So as of right now, I could definitely see this just being, you can just use a regular regression, right, from the low that you had here to where we are now, and you can generally see the direction where we're going, right? It's basically, it just tells you, oh, right now you're in an uptrend, right? I usually use the regression just to like kind of give me an idea of what's going on. So I think on the high end right now, you'd probably see 1694, something around, before dumping again or dropping down a little bit. But I think that we might actually just have a small run push to this 200 MA touch, possibly to 1700, and then drop from there. So I am definitely starting to turn more bearish on Bitcoin and Ethereum day by day, the whole market in general. I think we have hit somewhat of a top. And it's kind of worrisome, right? Because the fact that we are this low already, on like 21.4 on Bitcoin, and on the weekly we're starting to get extremely weak. It's pretty concerning, right? If I had to guess where we are in the market, I'd say we are probably somewhere around this area, back in April, March, late April, early March, or sorry, early April, late March, somewhere around this area, right? Again, if I had to guess, I'd say we're somewhere around this area before you have a significant drop to the lower side. And keep in mind, right, every single time ever since November, right, ever since we've closed a bear trigger on the weekly, we have dropped significantly, right? We've hit these lows of, we've had significant drops on every single bear trigger. And again, if you guys want access to these indicators, feel free to join the Patreon, because I don't just give these out, right? So again, every single time, right? Bear trigger back here on November 15th, the week of, right? You dropped all the way down to 24,000, or you dropped all the way down to 33,000, a $24,000 drop. Again, bear trigger back on April 11th for the week. You dropped all the way down to 17.8, a $21,000 drop, right? So if we do end up closing a weekly, I am more than likely expecting a very significant drop. Obviously, you cannot drop down to zero, which would basically be, this happening right here. We have to look at percentages. So if you do this, we just look at percentages. There we go. So how much did you actually drop, right? You dropped 40% on the first run. You dropped 54% on the second run. So because we're looking at percentages, you can't drop another $21,000, because then Bitcoin would go to zero. If you drop another 40 to, in roughly like 70 days, another 40 to like 40, like let's go with 40%, right? In 70 days, sure. Right? If you drop another 50% in 70 days, which is essentially, on the lower end, right? You're looking at a $12,000 Bitcoin, which is essentially one of the big areas that we've already talked about of where Bitcoin can actually go, right? 12,000, 16,000. And I think that's where we're headed, unfortunately. I think if we close that weekly bear trigger, I think we're going something to like $12,000, $13,000. And again, you have a lot of market, right? You have a lot of market structure from right here, right? 12,000 was your previous market structure, around 12,100 something. Again, market structure, 12,100, around that area. Again, you still have a market structure right here, right? You popped all the way up here, but again, you have market structure on that $12,000 area, and that's kind of where it ends. So, as of right now, if we do close that weekly bear trigger, I am extremely bearish on crypto, and I do think that we'll see, I think target would be like a $12,000 Bitcoin, and more than likely another very low Ethereum. And I do not think the merger is going to really be significant news to take this market to the high side. And because I'm also bearish on the SPY and the NASDAQ and the whole stock market as a whole, I also do think that there's a pretty big chance that just everything crashes together. So, especially crypto being risk on. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.